Welcome to our Kickstarter this Friday morning, looking at the evolution of the theatre industry and how can theatre's past glory be revived. One would say maybe it's been revived, but maybe it's not. But I believe that Andrew Kaggwa will have a better assessment of that. We've had this discussion with him before, and we wonder if there's been some change since we had this conversation last. I am Priscilla Regina Dalolga. Now, of course, looking at it from the backbone of the 1940s, when cultural programs by social welfare were used to dramatize and improve people's economic status at the time. Now, in the 60s, under Obote's regime, were the birth of political theatre like the community theatre, as well as Makerere traveling theatre, which were founded by students of the university. Then Amin's politics led to no freedom for culture development in the theatre arts, writing under censorship, needed new forms of dramatists. With the escape of many artists into exile, a new era of entertainment and commercialization of arts emerged, and with the end of the 20 years of civil war, theatre became more free but had to deal with new challenges. Commercialization, privatization, and mediation made it difficult to produce new qualitative plays, and currently at a struggle to revamp its status on top entertainment industry is where we are today. I'm joined by Andrew Kaggwa to help me break down this yet again. Good morning to you, Andrew.
Good morning.
I like the K added to the branding.
Yeah.
So, getting into theatre, I know that we have had this conversation about a year ago, and where it stands right now, it used to be the, for lack of better words, the global leader of entertainment industry for us here in Africa and in Uganda, to be exact. Things have taken a different trajectory, but since we last had this conversation, has there been any improvement?
Yes. I don't know, I think few things have gone worse, but of course before anyone beats their head about it, theatre is struggling across the world. Like it's not just Uganda where things are not working out. Theatre is struggling across the world. It's just at the levels that theatre is struggling elsewhere, and Uganda is different. At times I feel like Uganda struggles more than all the other places in the world when it comes to theatre. But that's just for the places I've been to. Like when you go to Kenya, when you go to South Africa, when you go to Barcelona, like their theatre is struggling. But you know, when someone is struggling and they can fill shows for 3 months and they still believe they're struggling, and you're thinking like, if we filled shows for a week in Uganda, everyone will talk about that show. Definitely. Yeah, so the level of struggle is different. But in Uganda, our struggles are deep.
What are the struggles, to be exact?
One, making theatre is very expensive. So because of that, you have very few people that are coming out to invest in making a comprehensive theatre production. And then when it comes to the administration, the policies, like things are tight. For example, Media Council is supposed to, there is that thing where they say, for film, where they say this film must not be seen by people under the age of...
Or the PG.
Oh, yeah, the PG. So they do that for theatre as well, but the problem is they want to use the lens of film to certify theatre as well.
Okay.
Now, how this works is when someone is exhibiting a local film, if I have a local film, say like Sekukulu, and I want to put it in cinema, I'll take it to the Media Council for them to certify it, and they will give it a rating where they'll say it's safe for all families. If I have a foreign film, say Black Panther, I'll be asked to pay about $150 for them to watch it and say this film shouldn't be watched by people under. Now what happens is they're using this same lens to certify theatre. So if I have a play from the US, but the director is Ugandan, the actors are Ugandan. Everyone is a writer, but because the play is from the US, I'll be expected to pay $150 for them to apparently like read a script, and they're like, yeah, we think children shouldn't be watching this. So our problems when it comes to theater at the moment.
That's a big problem.
Yeah.
Because it's not the original, first of all, and these plays have given rights to other people. People buy rights to do these plays elsewhere, locally, to localize this content.
Yes, so when you think about it, one, you're already buying the rights, and then in Uganda someone is making you pay a lot of money for them to certify it, and that's before you even start rehearsals, you start everything. So by the time you're thinking of putting this thing on stage, building sets, hiring people and everything, it becomes too expensive. And then still I can't say we have a fully functioning theater. Or even if we have, it is one, you cannot book it for a week. Like I know other people will say you can, but you can book it for 4 days and you skip Thursday because Fun Factory is there. And then setting up again on Friday is already a crisis.
Wow.
So yeah, like our issues are multi-layered.
Okay. Now on the issue of, you know, crediting some of these things, if they are internationally affiliated, what should the treatment of theatre be? How should theatricals be treated in that regard, as far as the standards are across the globe?
Actually, you see, it all takes understanding. Like one of the biggest problems we have in Uganda is people are trying to do policies for art, and they do not really understand how art works. Because even the way they are treating films is already problematic, because they are putting themselves in a cage. Like, it's one thing to put other people in a cage and you watch them like it's a zoo, but what we do in Uganda, like, we are putting ourselves in a cage where other people will come and just watch us. One, the problem they're already doing with film is that they are treating foreign films in a way that they're making them so hard to be exhibited in Uganda. Yet there is no world where film is owned by a country. Like, film is owned by the world in a way. Why? Because when I'm working on a film, I'll hire Priscilla, who might be Kenyan, and I might be Ugandan, and then the makeup artist might be South African. So in that way, because we are working together, like, we both have a stake on this film, even when probably the writer is not even from any of our countries. That's how the collaborations of film is what grows the different industries that are involved. When we make it so hard for people's films to show in Uganda, chances are they will make it so hard for our films to show in their countries. And it might make collaborations hard. So yeah, they are doing it in film, but it's already wrong. They need to find a better way of doing it. But how to deal with theater is, one, you need to understand if the industry is thriving or not. People that are supposed to certify works, for example, are actually not supposed to make it hard for these industries to exist. They are supposed to build them. In Kenya, for instance, when COVID-19 happened, the people that were key in ensuring that theaters survives was their body. That's an equivalent of our media council. They were very key by organizing drive-in theaters. Like, they organized a lot of events to see that people come out to either watch film or watch theater, because they know when you let this industry die, you're basically rendering very many people jobless. So you just need, it's not like theater wants even a special treatment. They just want people that understand how this industry works. When you understand how it works, one of the things you will understand is this industry is not making money. So maybe asking them to pay $150 to just certify their play does not make a lot of sense, because chances are they are not going to make back this money. What if we find a better way of collaborating with them? What if we ask for 150,000 Ugandan shillings instead of $150? So they just need to understand how the industry works, to understand that there's actually no money. People are trying to build this industry. Okay. So yeah, just that it's not like they're even asking for special treatment.
Your submissions have, engaged my mind to the extent of thinking two directions. One, the Holy Book saying my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Mm-hmm. And so the element of the people sitting in these positions of aiding the industry, the theatrical industry, to outlive itself, may not be having that much knowledge. By that I mean, yes, you have attained your degree, but you need to specialize in understanding mm-hmm. certification. You need to upgrade your understanding of certification mm-hmm. to the 2024 standards globally. Mm-hmm. Accreditations and how they should be managed in the transitions of time that have gone by since the 60s, the 80s, the 90s. Now we're in 2000s, and things have definitely changed. That means mm-hmm. policies have changed. Yeah. That means all these other elements have actually changed, meaning that how now things are being handled globally have changed. But for Uganda, we're still sounding like we're on the script of the colonialists. Yeah. How the manuscript was given to us is how we're still conducting and using it 60 years later.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the very first play that was staged at the National Theatre by a black playwright was by Wycliffe Chinji, and that was in the 60s. Like before that, very many playwrights, black playwrights, were not getting chances to have their shows at the National Theatre. So most of the plays that would be there were from either whites or Indians and other foreigners. And unfortunately, after that, much as some blacks managed to put plays at the theatre, others were still afraid. Mm-hmm. And for the theatres or UNCC as an institution, at times I feel that they do not really address that a lot. And it might not be their intention of maintaining the colonial narrative or policy or anything, but in a way people look at them like they're maintaining it because there are very many people that will not come to the theatre because they believe it's elitist. Mm. Which at times I feel is what the place needs to move from being a place to an institution. Say it needs to develop legs from the National Theatre, the place we know, which is, how many minutes is it from here?
Just 2 minutes.
Yeah, about 2 minutes. Yeah. Moving from that place to other places, like create other centers elsewhere. Mm-hmm. Because let's face it, at the moment, many of us, probably even you, commuted to Kampala. Like, I don't really think anyone on this building actually sleeps in Kampala. Mm-hmm. Like, everyone commutes to Kampala, and yet our only professional theatre is in Kampala, which means on the days when we are expected to relax, chill, watch things like theatre,
we have to go through the traffic
We have
jam.
to go through the traffic jam.
Yeah. And it feels like a work day all
like that
all over
takes
again.
a lot of dedication.
Yeah.
So if these places had moved from the colonial places where they were put mm-hmm. to
and expanded to
probably
other
have
regions.
A center in Nansana, have a center in Wakiso, like we wouldn't be having a discussion of theatre struggling today.
Okay, so when you give that school of thought of an idea, then that means that whoever would want to stage play would want to stage it to the different setups that would have been put in other regions, for example. But that comes at a
Trust me.
Would theatre be ready to do that kind? I think the only group that I have seen do that kind is Ebony's group, and maybe the Bakayimbira Dramatas.
And they did make money out of it, a lot of it.
They did. But can the rest of the industry tryouts, those that are trying to make it into the sector, be able to sustain the financial element of that?
I think one of the industries we always admire when it comes to everything is usually the American. And the American industry doesn't always thrive by being big. People do not always succeed by being known all over the US. Like some can succeed by being very big in Nashville, which is just a place, and others can succeed by being very big in New York, and before you know, you're big all over the globe. When I say we should take theatre to the people, I actually don't think everyone should take theatre to all the people. First start by taking it to your people. Like if I stay in Nansana, I would try so much to see that the people in Nansana actually see what I do. Like if I can stage a show in Nansana and it stays there for 3 weeks, that will be a win. It's a bigger win than me bringing it to the National Theatre and it can't even do a weekend because people can't move from Nansana to come to the National Theatre. So if we can start like that, probably the people in Nansana will do word of mouth, and before you know, you're taking it to Kasubi, before you know, you're taking it to Makere. And because it has received a lot of clout and people talking about it, because art survives a lot on word of mouth. Like I see it and like it, I'll come and tell you about it.
The ones that I went for last year, I did all the campaigning with.
Yes.
I dragged people to that theatre.
Yeah, you talk about it and another person talks about it, and before you know, by the time probably it comes to the National Theatre, people can actually sacrifice their Sunday and they're like, I heard this is amazing, I'll leave home to go and see theatre on Sunday. But that comes from the fact that you'll have the support from people at home in Nansana, people in Kasubi that saw it, Nankulabi and Makere. They did all that word of mouth that now everyone pays attention. So we actually need to take it back to the people. Unfortunately, we do not have those centers.
Okay. Is it just suggesting also a little bit of late in terms of time? You know, technology has changed things, and you do have it taking center stage and control over everything that was once a physical ability, now being made a clicking ability, swiping ability. And so in the advancement of technology, isn't it playing a threat to the extinction of theatre?
We blame technology for a lot of things, and I believe one day if it could talk,
it does.
it would come out and say, I'm innocent, stop blaming me for things. Because let's face it, much as we are always on our phones, we literally have about 2 hours. For people that go out, there are those 2 hours when we are lying to ourselves that we are having fun, yet we are just getting wasted. Like, it's a funny thing about Uganda, like, people have fun by getting drunk, which you don't even enjoy the fun because you don't understand.
But capacities are not with you.
Yes.
Okay.
So they are those about 2 hours, like every week, when people are not on their phones, but they are just getting wasted. The time we spend in the bars, at times the dedication we give to football, like you watch the entire game on tension and then tweet about it when they're in the halftime or when it's done. Like, that's all that shows you that there are those times we can't actually give the internet a break because we are engrossed in something that we love so much. So theatre can still exist in that place because it's an escape for people. People want to escape technology, the trolling and everything.
You've used the example of football. Once upon a time, stadiums would fill with people watching football. today is no longer the case. But let me show you, from my perspective, how technology has eroded that element of the physical enjoyment of our passions. It was in the study, you definitely go and enjoy it. Then it moved to people making it a social kind of thing, and so those that were putting up social entities were putting up screens so that if you don't want to go and sweat it out in the study, you can come to the this social place environment and still watch it live on the game. And then you do have media houses like DSTV that came through to complement that and say, okay, tuinayo abarodi who feel like the classes in these two places are not their standard. So they made for them a package that allows them to watch football in the comfort of their homes. You see how technology is just making things worse. And then they slapped that with a subscription, right? And so for you to get a game, you'd have to go get it illegally. Today, as I speak, I can get a game legally without subscription. In the comfort of my bed sheets, and I'm still enjoying my passion. And so it has killed the whole element of people coming together and seeing this collectively and supporting it collectively. Now I'll be a Man U supporter, but in my bed.
Truth is, every single person that watches football would actually want to be in that stadium one day.
Joined by Mr. Edwin Mukalazi. He's a scriptwriter, but he's also one of our leaders at the Uganda National Cultural Center. You're most welcome.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Now, we wanted to do the break having tasked Kaggwa here to let us know how technology can be used, not to fight, but to advance things. And I told him that perhaps you can use the example of football. It started with you going to the pitch faithfully. Today you stay in your bed faithfully and you still catch the game. Which team do you support?
I support Express.
When was the last time you went to the stadium to watch the game?
Long.
It's been a while. But you still love the team.
Yes.
You follow up on.
Yeah.
They have a game today.
Sure.
What's your analysis on their game today?
I can't give. I've not been following the local football for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
But technology has kept you abreast with what's happening. And so we were at that point of looking at the evolution of technology in the industry, theatricals to be exact, and how it's being adopted to fill the void of what used to be the physical, or making sure that the industry survives the time.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think technology can help, but the physical at least makes a difference when you're in the theater. The ambience, the way you watch, because now I'm telling my story, but if I'm to depend on the cameraman to tell my story, now there may be a few things that will be missed, like some gestures, some facial expressions. So the physical really is better. Only that technology will help. In the moment, people that are watching may not be many, but if I'm streaming live something, as time goes on, you're going to find that you have a lot of views. For example, when COVID, we were looking for a way to be relevant at the Uganda National Cultural Center. So we had UNCC at home, where people are going to still watch theater. So what happened is, in the moment we used to be frustrated when we put something and you see there are 30 people viewing, 20 people viewing. But now, a few years down the road, when I go back and look at those pages, I see that a lot of people have actually finally followed. Yes. So that's a good way to go. But now how to monetize it maybe would be the other challenge. Many of the artists have been doing things for passion, but how do you get money out of it? I was talking to one Haji Ashraf Semogedere, and he was telling me, I was asking him, you're no longer acting, what is happening? He said, you know what, me now I'm on Facebook. So if I do my work on Facebook, I get 4,000 people following me, then his stories now, to follow, you have to pay, let's say, 2,000 or 5,000. And he told me, you calculate how much is that. At the end of the day, URA is not following him up. Okay, I'm not tipping you at it. Yeah, but I think it's better we adopt, though there are some things that you really miss out.
Okay. All right. Now let's go back to another argument that was presented earlier, trying to break down the institutionalization of the theatre and maybe extend it to the different regions.
Yes.
We have the National Theatre as the center. We have schools that come from different districts to have their plays done here, and yet you can take the theatre to them, so that not only do you develop all the schools there, but also you develop the community and the love. You introduce the love for theatre into the community. What's your perspective on that?
I think in line with that, as UNCC, we really have a strategy for that. I know our resource envelope has not really been good, but we've tried to get to different culture leaders to offer land. As I speak in Bugisu, we are offered some land where we can start to build. Also in Chisoro, we have a partnership there. So we are really we are aware of the need to go out, and we are starting slowly, only that, you know, the budgets and this and that. Because as I speak now, government only gives Uganda National Culture Center money for salaries, period. Nothing more. So the rest we need to look around, and most of the partners have also different interests. Like, for example, we are working with the French embassy, but what they wanted was to equip what we have already, the theater. So bought us some sound, some lights, some workshops for the employees to better their work. Yeah, but we are aware of the need, and we have done something at least.
Okay. Speaking of government, I know that post-COVID-19, the industry, the arts industry, has had the eye and attention of government in regards to supporting it. In the most recent supplementary budget, there was something in there for artists. And so how is the council, actually the center, tapping into this opportunity of the eye of government to be able to push the agenda of the theatrical industry?
Okay, I think what we are doing, a lot of things have been lobbied. Some are directly by the artists to government through parliament, all that. But also Uganda National Culture Center is also lobbying on different fronts. Now, what happens, government has supported that, I cannot say they haven't. But what's happening is money is ring-fenced, yeah? So money can come and they say, you know what, we want this one is for artists to borrow. So they send to microfinance center. They say this money is for let's say promoters, because they made losses through COVID. Then they send it directly, but it passes through us. So someone who hears from there says, that $1 billion was sent to UNCC. Those guys have a lot of money. Why aren't they improving the lights? But most of the time it's ring fenced, so our hands are tied.
Okay. Kaggwa, looking back to school days, the school education system was one of those that supported the continuation of the theatrical industry. And it was through music, dance and drama, or plays that were being done in schools, written by students, acted by students, produced by students, and displayed by students. And that culture seems to be neglected in present day time system of education, therefore weakening what you do have later on in the stages. And it begs the question, how can we revive that, or how can we restore that culture?
That almost needs a reset, but we were part of the problem, like we the people, then the parents, and then the schools later. Because you'll notice that what killed that culture is fourth and first grades. Parents are really obsessed with first grades, like they will always ask a school, how many first grades did you get? It is so bad that some parents do not want their children to participate in drama or even in sports. So in the long run, private schools that came up started killing the programs, and I heard from someone that they still exist somehow. Personally, I've not attended one in a very long time, but someone told me they exist, but the schools are fewer and the competitions are not as vibrant as they used to be. The only way that can be revived is a total mindset change. The good thing is that we have a younger generation of parents at the moment who have seen that you can actually make it as an artist, and so they will not have a problem when their child is in drama. I like the new TV show. There's a TV show that has children acting in it.
Oh, the Academy, yeah.
Like when we have more of that where children are involved, it will not be so hard to introduce music, dance and drama to more new schools. But at the moment, the reason we are here are mainly because of the parents and demanding for those first grades.
Mr. Mukalazi, in your perspective, where did we fall short, and is it revivable?
It is, because at least it's happening. It's been funded by UNICEF for some good time, but it's under Ministry of Education. That's where it's being run. Before, there was kind of a committee where UNCC had also representatives, but as managements changed, they kept slowly pushing us a bit away, and we used to have the competitions here, actually, the finals, the nationals, and it used to make sense. But in my own analysis, these people are dissatisfied with the fact that we're charging for the utilities and all that kind of thing. So they decided to go and do in regions, in schools. That's why it is losing a bit, because the national level at the theatre gives it the pump. But I think we really need to sit down again and see what needs to be improved, what went wrong. Yeah, but even many of the schools that are part of it are dissatisfied with the way it is being run. Because I know one that has started since last year to do its own inter-campus competitions.
So they're privatizing it, which then kills the reason as to why we were having these things, to ensure that on a national level the agenda is you know, kept pushing. All right, as we get into 2024, gentlemen, closing this conversation, Kaggwa, what is your piece of advice to the theatrical industry?
One, I wouldn't actually have to the industry. I would have to UCC. It's just that he's not Ojede. But I think we need more in-house productions. Okay. We need more in-house productions. I don't know if they can get the budget, but they should try to get that budget.
All right, time is fast spent.
Yeah, and
we'll definitely continue this conversation another time. We're meant to be joined by Stephen Bide,